Hey guys, Earl here with Savory Butcher. You're in my kitchen and today I'm going to show you how to make a really healthy, quick, nutritious meal for your family. Now everybody likes pasta, but nowadays everybody's thinking about this right here. I'm included in that model right there. But there's a real healthy alternative that you can use, which is called spaghetti squash, and I happen to love it. I'm going to show you how to put a twist on a traditional sauce that makes it more than amazing. And we're going to do it with some Savory Butcher seafood. Now you haven't seen it yet, but it's coming out and I have some of the first samples here. We're going to be working with Savory Butcher halibut, Savory Butcher cod, and Savory Butcher wild caught shrimp. So what we're going to get started with right now is we're going to go ahead and get a few of the prep things done. And this is something I like to do because it's quick, it's easy, and my kids love it. A lot of people shy away from getting shrimp with the shells on it. I like to get the shells because I'll make a stock and I make a lot of sauces out of it. But I want to show you how quick and simple and easy it is to actually peel shrimp. You start right here with the legs and you pull and you just kind of unwind it. Almost like you'd unwind a roll of, say, Lifesavers. Some people like to leave the tail on. I don't mind, but if you want to take the tail off, the easiest thing to do is just pinch and pull right there. And you can pull the tail off. So we're going to quickly peel these shrimp, get them ready for the skillet. A lot of people don't buy shrimp with the shells on because they don't know how to peel them and they certainly don't know how to devein them. A lot of times you'll see me work with smaller shrimp where I don't even bother to devein them. But when you get these nice big shrimp like this, you probably want to devein them, and that's what they call butterflying when you actually fillet them through the back. On the top of your shrimp, you've got a line that runs just like this, and all you do is you take your paring knife. I start right up around where the first part of the arch starts, and I just take my knife, run it right in, and when you open it up, you can actually see the line in here. So we'll take this and we'll go and we'll run it through the sink. So here's part of my line right here. You can see it. And this is what I'm cleaning out of the shrimp. The bigger shrimp are going to have the bigger line. And a lot of times I'll take and I'll butterfly it all the way back here and open this up. And you see I have a few other things sitting out here on my cutting board. I have some sweet Walla Walla onions. I also have some mushrooms, some garlic, some butter, and right here, smoked clams. Now you can get those at your store. All these things are simple stock, staple items that you can have in your shelf. And I like to have them around because I love making sauces and I love making cool things with the Savory Butcher proteins. So we're gonna peel up these shrimp real quick. We're gonna season up some fish. And I'm going to show you how to make a super quick, nutritious meal for your family that doesn't take a lot of time and keeps you guys eating healthy. It's a lot better than a burger. So we got our shrimp done right there. We're going to take some mushrooms. Some people like them, some people don't. My kid, he'll hunt mushrooms out like there's no tomorrow, but I love mushrooms. I like to go out to the farmers markets. I like to find some of the fresh wild mushrooms that they get. But today we're just going to use regular button mushrooms. We're going to chop them up. A lot of people get scared when it comes to chopping stuff and they're like, careful, careful. But the reality is, if you can use your knuckles as a guide and you pull your fingertips back, you can actually cut through this mushroom really quick. Just like that. Cuts down on time. And mushrooms don't have to be perfect because they are going to shrink when you cook them. I just like them for the texture and for the flavor. So we got some mushrooms here. We've got some shrimp here. I have some garlic, and I actually left the juice in the garlic because I like it. We got a couple pieces of cod, so we're going to pepper both sides of those. Add a little bit of seasoning. Fish cooks really, really quick, especially this white fish. Cod is super flaky. We add a little bit of garlic salt. And we're going to take some of this halibut out of the wrapper. And look at that, you guys. I love this new product that we have with Savory Butcher, the halibut. Perfect little fillet. Looks beautiful. It's nice. It's clean. It's going to be easy to cook with. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to put a little garlic salt on both sides. And it doesn't matter if you're getting that over on your mushrooms and stuff like that because it's going to be there anyway. Add a little bit of pepper. And I like to add the Walla Walla sweet into the mix. I love the texture. We're fortunate we live over here in Washington. And most people in most areas, there's going to be a sweet onion that you can grab and put into your meals. But I use it in a lot of my cooking. So we'll just peel that right off the back there. Get rid of that. Well, let's just cut say a few of those, just about like that. What's great is we're gonna take all of this, we're gonna put it into a pan, we're gonna get it warming up. I like to use regular butter. I don't usually use salted butter in most of my stuff because I like all my own seasonings to come through. But just like the mushrooms, you don't have to be precise with the onions because this is gonna cook down also. So we're pulling this right here. And actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab a little plate. We're gonna drag this over, and this is gonna be the first part that goes into our pan. So we're gonna go over here, we're gonna get the pan heating up. We got some butter in there already, starting to go. We're gonna turn up the burner a little bit. We aren't browning the butter, but we're just gonna get this in here. Now the shrimp cooks pretty quick. I'm gonna leave that up towards the top of all of my veggies and onions right there. I'm gonna let that kind of steam up through because I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna take my halibut and my cod and I'm gonna set those in there. You know what? Now that I think about it, we could do a kind of a fun twist on this cod today. I hadn't even thought about it before, but here, I'm gonna grab something cool. Since we already have halibut, that's just gonna be regular, let's go ahead and add a little bit of panko to the mix. See if we can get some crispness. Now, I'm not doing an egg wash on this, and I'm not doing anything crazy fancy. I just wanna add a little bit of texture to this cod. Just press that in there. That's gonna add another little dimension to it. Okay. Take our cod, take our halibut, and we're gonna set this on the other side of the pan. Fish cooks very fast, you guys. This cod's gonna cook pretty quick too. So we got that going. We've got our shrimp sitting up high in here. And I'm gonna show you how to make a sauce out of a traditional item but give it a non-traditional twist. So I just bought generic roasted garlic Alfredo sauce. Alfredo sauces are what they are. You can make your own at home. I make homemade Alfredo sauce all the time. But when it comes to making something quick for my family, I want to just do something simple. I'll just grab regular Alfredo sauce. So there's going to be 2 of us eating today. So I'm just going to use, let's go with a cup. A cup of Alfredo sauce. You're probably thinking about it now, but Earl, I thought you said you were going to do something cool with spaghetti squash. I am, and I'm going to show you how that works. But all I've got in here, you guys, is just a cup of Alfredo sauce, and I'm going to add garlic chili sauce to it. About a half a tablespoon right in there. That's going to add some depth and flavor that you wouldn't expect from Alfredo sauce, and we're going to get this working over here on this burner. So we're going to keep it on medium heat. We're going to kind of try to time it with our fish. And now we're going to add some garlic right back over here, because all these flavors are going to start blending together, and you're going to see how it ties into the Alfredo sauce when we're done. So spaghetti squash is something that's not that expensive. It's not like noodles and pasta where you have to sit there and boil it and boil it and boil it. They come in about this size right here. You can get quite a meal out of it. I already cut one in half because I want to show you. The one thing that you want to do with it is you want to get these seeds out of there. It's not difficult. It's not like doing a pumpkin, because you already got it out this way. So we just take, and I just scrape it like this. I grab my waste bowl, throw it right in there. I do something different with spaghetti squash, and it's because I like to layer my flavors. So I took out the seeds. I'm gonna do something that I use with almost all of mine. We're gonna check our fish, working just about right. I like to use allspice. Allspice adds that flavor and that depth. It's just a little bit different. It kind of has a sweetness, but you're hitting it on a different level, almost like jerk chicken, I guess. So I cover this up pretty good. Then add garlic salt. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this thing face down, and we're gonna actually steam it with butter in the oven at 400 degrees. It takes about 25 minutes if you have your oven preheated. So I take, and I'll cut a couple pretty good chunks of butter, about like that, and put the butter face down in the pan. Then I'm just gonna set this right over like that, and done. If you do it ahead of time, that's the 25 minutes. That's probably the longest part of the whole process, and we put it in the oven and get it cooking. Back over to the fish here. You can kind of see that the fish is starting to get just about right. Your shrimp's starting to get a slight curl to it. Great. We've got our garlic working. Let's go ahead and turn that over. You got a nice color on your halibut. Cod will come apart, you guys, if you're not careful with it. So that's looking good. Now we're going to actually let our shrimp get down here into the veggies a little bit. And over here you see we got the sauce that's starting to warm up. And it's changed from the white color of regular Alfredo to picking up that pink right there. And let's take a little taste. I like spicy, you guys, and if you've watched my other videos, you know I like spicy. That's just about right. Just about right. So we'll let this keep going. You see how the shrimp's starting to turn white on the one side? So that's an indicator that this is starting to cook down nicely. So I showed you earlier something that's pretty cool that I add to a lot of my sauces. And I told you we were going to do something non-traditional with the Alfredo sauce. I like to take smoked baby clams, add it into my Alfredo sauce because we're kind of doing a little seafood marriage to it. But these things are delicious. I love smoked baby clams. So your first inclination is, my gosh, I've got to drain that oil. It's not perfectly healthy because we are using a little bit of butter, but I like to take and just dump it right in my Alfredo sauce. And I usually leave a couple in the can for me. Let's go to the next level. Let's prep up our spaghetti squash and actually get that set. You guys are going to love this meal. It's delicious. My kids love it. They don't go, hey, Dad, why aren't we having pasta? They're like, hey, Dad, why can't we have some spaghetti squash? So, just so happens, I actually made one earlier for this video so that we could together, oh man, you can really smell that allspice, and that's such a cool smell. It's not like pie. If you've never had it, it's wonderful. So we're going to take this. It's hot. Look at that. Steaming away. So how do you deal with spaghetti squash? You're like, okay, why do they call it spaghetti squash? If you haven't seen before, this stuff is super duper cool because it comes apart just like this. You just start lightly dragging your fork right through here, and it comes out in a texture like angel hair pasta. And there's a lot here. So what I'll do is I'll start dragging this down. I'll get a couple plates going because we have 2 people eating today. We'll put some of the spaghetti squash over here. And we'll put some right over here. Now the other one's in the oven, obviously working, but you can spread it out. And you see you've still got that allspice in there because as you start scraping this down, it mixes it all together. And you just keep scraping along. You can get, this is just 1/2 of a spaghetti squash. So this spaghetti squash here cost me about, I think it was $1.80. Let's go back over here to the stove and see how we're doing. So we've added the clam element over here to the Alfredo. And that's going to change the flavor profile just a little bit. But remember, we're doing some seafood stuff over here. That's wonderful. So the sauce is just about ready. Let's check our fish. So the best way, if you haven't cooked a lot of fish, to see if it's done, is does it flake? That's flaking. That's flaking. How's our halibut doing? Halibut's just still got just a little bit to work, but you can see how the layers are starting to come apart right there. We're looking good over on this. So here's what I'm doing, you guys. So this stuff, this was the onions and the shrimp and the mushrooms. Now they're going in the sauce. You're like, what? That's crazy. That's what's happening. And now we got our fish here. We're going to take our sauce, give it a spin. Sauce is done. And we are going to put some of this over our spaghetti squash. Look at that, it's nice and chunky. Oh my gosh, that looks wonderful. We got our shrimp in there. Give this guy another shrimp over here. And we follow back up. We're going to take and put a piece of cod right there. We're going to take and put a piece of cod right here. Oh man, look at that. So we're going to give this guy some halibut right here. And we're going to put the other piece of halibut right here. And there you go. You have a nutritious meal done with Savory Butcher seafood. From my kitchen to yours. We're going to sit here, we're going to take a couple bites, and I am excited. Love spaghetti squash. That was so good. And the cod. So that panko that I added in the end gave it just the right amount of crunch. It wasn't a ton, I didn't bread it heavily, but it's just got a little crunch when you bite into it. I love that. Let's taste our cold water caught halibut. It's got a sweetness to it, really flaky. With that spaghetti sauce, the layering of the flavors, the sweets to the savories to the heat, this is just perfect. Hey, I'm Earl Adams with Savory Butcher. I appreciate you taking the time to come into my kitchen, see some of the things that I like to do for my family to yours. Enjoy.